Hey everyone, still trying to get used to the 16:9 aspect ratio. Let's talk about cars. When it comes to cars, I'm pretty un-American, I have to admit. You know, I waited till I was nearly 17 to get my driver's license because I was happy to get around on my skateboard. In the small town of Napa where I lived, of course. Occasionally I even took the bus. Of course, there the buses were clean. I always felt when I was younger that cars were the most serious threat to my mortality. I mean, if you're between the ages of 15 and 35, the most likely cause of death is an automobile accident or motorcycle accident, but motor vehicle accident. I felt like to have a car, I would need to spend a lot of my time working in order to afford a car, to afford the insurance, the maintenance, gasoline, etc. And so I was never really eager to have a car. When I was in college, I voluntarily went 2 years without a car, once again getting around on my skateboard, light rail, and train. Granted, I did hitch a ride occasionally up the hill to go snowboarding. The point is, we have a car culture. Americans love their cars. It's difficult to get around on public transportation because everything is set up and designed for conveyance by automobile. So I was surprised recently to hear people saying things like, let the car companies go out of business. That's what they get for building gas-guzzling cars instead of creating fuel-efficient alternatives. Now, for someone who's somewhat anti-car, I actually support this so-called bailout, with the air quotes again. It's really more of a loan. Part of the deal is that they have until mid-February, the car companies, to come up with a plan to remain viable. The money will be released only as they show that and can be demanded to be returned in middle of February if they haven't done something to become viable. If they don't fill, if the government doesn't fill. And furthermore, the government needs to be paid back before any shareholders. That's all part of the deal. So I think they've proceeded sensibly in this automaker American car bailout. So I'm in favor of it with these types of provisions simply because it's going to save American jobs. That's the point of this. Save American jobs. In a time where our economy is already down, the impact on our economy for any of the major American automakers to go out of business would be devastating. One of the things they have talked about, though, is reducing the number of brands. There are 3 major American automakers, and yet they represent, I think, around a dozen brands of cars. Now, I'm not sure how that will save jobs, but I could see how it will make them more viable to not be in competition with themselves. They're closing dealerships, reducing brands. I hope in all of that they are saving jobs, because that doesn't sound like a job-saving technique. So, anti-car, pro-bailout. But let's see some fuel-efficient alternative energy options, please. The one point of concern I have here, who's next? Who needs to be bailed out next? Credit card companies? I'm looking at you. Thanks for watching.